The film opens with a man named Carmen attending a business meeting with his adversary, Rooker. Carmen is accompanied by his son Grant and his bodyguard Vincent. As they approach a hotel, Vincent and Grant express concerns about potential danger inside. Carmen reassures them that Rooker is a professional and there is no need to worry. Inside, they encounter one of Rooker's associates, and Carmen slips the man some cash as a bribe. Then, they meet Rooker, who is displeased because he had instructed Carmen to bring only one person. Carmen asks Vincent to wait outside. Rooker informs Carmen that his shipment has been blocked from passing through the city docks on Carmen's orders, resulting in significant financial losses. In the ensuing conversation, Carmen disagrees with Rooker's demands and states that he cannot operate his business in the city. This discussion quickly escalates into a heated argument. Grant and Rooker's men draw their guns at each other, but Carmen instructs Grant to lower his weapon. Grant is revealed to be Carmen's son when he lowers the gun. Rooker seizes the opportunity, grabs the weapon, and shoots Carmen repeatedly. A scuffle ensues, but Rooker manages to flee. Hearing the gunfire, Vincent rushes in and attempts to shoot Rooker, but Rooker is already gone. Meanwhile, Grant calls an ambulance and is devastated by his father's death. Understanding the gravity of the situation, Grant tells Vincent to leave because he cannot afford to be arrested if he wants revenge. However, Grant is too stunned to process this. Vincent then pulls Grant out of the house and they drive away together. The scene shifts to Bogota, Colombia, where we meet Ray, a federal agent on an undercover mission. Ray walks into a bar carrying a bag and asks the bartender to take him to the boss. The bar, however, is full of gang members. Suspecting something is up, the bartender signals to the gangsters, who surround Ray and attempt to attack him. Ray fights them off and subdues them. During the altercation, Ray's team, who has been monitoring the situation, comes in and finds Ray unharmed. But since his cover has been compromised, Ray has to return to the office. After working hard on a project for 6 months, he gets angry about losing the lead. His boss calms him down, assuring him they'll find another solution to control the situation. Then, he gets a call from his dad and decides to visit him at home. Upon returning home, Ray learns from his dad that his best friend Grant is in the hospital in bad condition. His dad reveals that Carmen was killed, and now Grant wants to set the city on fire to avenge the death. Ray is stunned to learn that his best friend is following in his father's footsteps. They decide to visit Grant and head to the hospital. There, they meet Grant's daughter, Jada, who is worried about her dad. When Ray tries to enter Grant's room, 3 guards stop him, but he fights them off. Vincent exits the room and intervenes, but Grant tells him to let Ray in. Ray asks Grant to support his revenge plan, while Ray tries to convince Grant to leave it to the police. Vincent gets angry at the idea, so Grant tells him to take a break and go home. Meanwhile, Ray's dad takes Jada back home. As everyone leaves, Ray continues to persuade Grant to abandon his revenge plan, but Grant remains unconvinced. Suddenly, Vincent bursts in, announcing that Rooker's men are in the hospital and coming for Grant. They decided to sneak out the back door, telling Ray to keep going. Grant and Vincent confronted the bad guys, and a brawl broke out. Meanwhile, Ray took the stairs and also got into a fight. They all piled into a car and sped away to a secret hideout owned by Rooker. Once there, they saw a car full of men with young girls. Realizing these men were involved in trafficking, Ray wanted to call the police, but Grant insisted on waiting until Rooker was dead. Grant and Vincent stormed the house, shooting down a couple of guys who tried to escape. They demanded to know where Rooker was, but nobody answered. So, Grant started shooting everyone. At the same time, Ray rescued the girls and told them to flee to a nearby house or call for help. He found Grant and Vincent in a bloody mess and begged them to stop the killing. Vincent coldly told him to either join in or leave. Back home, Jada and her dad were relaxing when she started feeling down about their relationship. Her dad reassured her of his love and protection. Suddenly, they heard a noise and the dad went to check it out. As he looked out the kitchen window, someone wearing a mask attacked him from behind. Pops grabs the knife and fatally stabs the attacker before rushing to check on Jada, only to find her captured by other masked men. Pops is beaten and Jada is kidnapped. Meanwhile, Grant, Ray, and Vincent are at a restaurant having dinner when they receive a call from an unidentified person. The caller informs them that Rooker is seeking revenge for the disruption to his illegal activities caused by the rescue of the girls. Grant fears for Jada's safety and attempts to contact Pops, but there is no response. They rush to Pop's place and discover him severely injured, being taken away in an ambulance. Pops discloses that Jada was taken by men wearing devil masks. Vincent recognizes one of the police officers as being affiliated with Rooker's group and informs Grant. They decide to tail the officer while Ray accompanies Pops to the hospital. As Grant and Vincent follow the officer, he stops at a donut shop. Upon his exit, Vincent confronts him with a gun and compels him to get into their car. The officer, realizing the seriousness of the situation, complies silently. They transport him to a secluded area in the city, where Grant interrogates him about Jada's whereabouts. However, the officer stays silent. Meanwhile, Jada is locked in a room within an abandoned building, intimidated by Rooker's men who take her pictures before leaving her confined. Jada discovers a small pin and successfully unlocks the door, a skill she picked up from her grandfather Carmen. As she leaves the room, she encounters some of Rooker's henchmen. Choosing to flee, she is swiftly captured and confined in a different room. Meanwhile, Grant and Vincent continue their inquiry into the police officer, resorting to aggressive tactics to extract information. Eventually, the officer caves in and discloses a remote location where Rooker keeps the abducted girls. Upon learning this, Grant decides to spare the officer and, accompanied by Vincent, sets out for the location. On another front, Ray expresses concern for his father's well-being in the hospital. He contacts his colleague Ben from the police department, providing him with a number to track the location associated with Jada's abduction. Ben reassures Ray of a prompt response but instead reports the situation to the department head. Angered by Ray's unauthorized use of resources, the department head confronts Ray, instructing him to cease involvement in local criminal activities. Ray defends his actions, emphasizing that it concerns his family rather than local crime syndicates. Refusing to comply with the directive, Ray's focus remains on his family's well-being. As Pops regains consciousness, he urges Ray to join Grant in the search for his daughter, but Ray opts to remain by his father's side. After Pops tells Ray how proud he is of him and passes away, Ray panics and contacts the doctors. The medical staff instruct him to wait outside, and later inform him of his father's passing. Ray grieves the loss of his dad and decides to handle the situation himself. He calls for an Uber and travels to a concealed location where he keeps a bag of weapons. After arming himself, he returns to the Uber with the female driver, Candy, who senses something amiss with Ray. Despite her offer to help as a certified psychologist, Ray chooses not to share his feelings. Meanwhile, Grant and Vincent arrive at the designated spot, arming themselves before being surrounded by Rooker's men who disarm and take them captive. On a different note, Ben contacts Ray to apologize for informing the department head but provides him with the location associated with the number. Ray expresses gratitude, forgives Ben, and urgently directs Candy to head to the location. Before departing, he gives her a significant sum of money to ensure her silence. Ray springs into action, equipping himself with his guns and stealthily entering the premises. He encounters two of Rooker's men and rescues Vincent, furnishing him with a weapon. He shares his escape strategy with Vincent, instructing him to follow his lead. He instructs Vincent to locate Jada and bring her back while he heads after Rooker to save Grant. In the meantime, Grant is held by Rooker and his gang. Rooker demands that Grant hand over his father's business if he wants to ensure the safety of his daughter. Rooker offers to care for both Grant and his daughter if he surrenders everything. This proposal angers Grant, who refuses to hear Rooker mention his father's name with disrespect. When Grant declines Rooker's terms, Rooker orders his men to start beating him. Despite the torture, Grant remains defiant against Rooker. Meanwhile, Ray is en route to their location, confronting Rooker's associates until he finally discovers them. Ray aims his guns at Rooker, commanding him to surrender. Rooker and his accomplice comply, kneeling with their hands up. Ray notices Grant's dire state, but Grant stops him from executing Rooker, claiming the task as his own. Amidst this, one of Rooker's men seizes the guns and throws them aside before engaging in a scuffle with Ray. On another front, Vincent locates Jada locked in a room, overpowering most of the men but facing resistance from two of them. Upon witnessing this scene, Jada seizes a gun and aims it at one of the men. Despite his efforts to approach her politely and request the gun, Vincent urges Jada to shoot or face harm. However, Jada refuses, stating she cannot commit such an act. Unexpectedly, the man grabs the gun and pulls the trigger, only to find it empty. Jada had already removed the bullets and discarded them. Seeing an opening, Vincent eliminates the men and secures the gun before heading towards Ray and Grant, who are being assaulted. Upon their arrival, Rooker is attempting to flee, but Vincent shoots him down. Ray also defeats Rooker's associate and subdues him. Witnessing her father injured, Jada becomes anxious and rushes to his side. Grant embraces her, reassuring her that everything will be alright. Ray informs them of his plan to contact the authorities for questioning, prompting an emotional response from Vincent. Despite Vincent's objections, Ray insists they involve the police, with Grant being the only one in agreement. However, Vincent's true motives come to light. He had been working with Rooker all along, providing information for Grant's kidnapping and betrayal despite being considered part of their family. This revelation shocks Grant, questioning why Vincent would betray them after being trusted as one of their own. Vincent complained that he was treated like a beloved pet. He revealed Rooker was paying him well and had promised to put him in charge of his sex trafficking operation, but Carmen ruined the plan. Suddenly, Rooker's henchmen woke up and attacked, but Vincent shot and killed him. Turning to Grant and Ray, Vincent aimed at Ray, but Grant jumped in front, taking the bullets for him. Jada and Ray helped the wounded Grant, but Vincent spared Jada and focused on Ray. Angered by the betrayal, Ray fought back and disarmed Vincent, killing him. As Grant lay dying, he entrusted Ray with his daughter. After calling the police, Ray reassured the scared Jada that everything would be okay, but they had to answer some questions first. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thanks and see you again soon. Take care.